my two special co-hosts, my regular Andres, and a special masked vigilante out there that you see
Hey, hey,
cheering
hey.
in the supporter section during each Dynamo home game and Dynamo event and all that good stuff. Cesspool, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, y'all? Thank you for having me here. I mean, I do need a little therapy session after what been going through.
All
So,
of us.
hey, this is as fun as it's gonna get. So, no, I'm excited to be here, talk about the Dynamo, and ask some questions.
Sounds good, man. Man, we appreciate the you coming on, man. I'll always. This is an open forum for you to always come on whenever you feel the need
We
to.
always have fun, bro. We always have fun.
For sure, Andres, what's going on, buddy?
Sir, mostly good. Venezuela
I
just
see
lost
the
to
kit.
Argentina in World Cup qualifying, and I'm still processing it because the second goal was absolutely robbed. But man, we
I
still
see.
lost. We still got one more game to go. But
But
man, tonight was kind of tough.
but they say Messi and MLS isn't isn't good for Argentina.
Man, no, he did crazy stuff in the game like you couldn't even believe.
He's
Honestly,
saving
like
all that
Messi being
energy for when
Messi.
he goes with Argentina, bro. He saves it all here in the
Always,
MLS.
always.
Hey
Saving
man,
it
no,
for
I mean
the last dance of the World
And
Cup.
it's
Yep,
still enough. That's why I'm pissed.
yep.
got that last dance, guys.
I
Well, I
know.
mean, speaking of Messi, before we get into everything, obviously, one of the big things, obviously the League Cup just finished. Before we get into the Dynamo and all the stuff that's going on with those guys, I want to give a little attention to this because I've been having a little bit of a back and forth on Twitter. And obviously about the whole situation and what happened with Suarez and Busquets and all that stuff. And obviously, first and foremost, congratulations to Seattle Sounders. They basically have every trophy possible in their cabinet that's available to them. I think the only one that's available, though, I think the only one that they don't have is the Campeón de Campeones when it's the MLS champion versus the Liga
Yeah.
MX champion. But
Hmm.
those guys have only been in the top tier since 2009, and for them to accomplish that feat so quickly, a round of applause to having a great front office and and ambitious front office, and obviously the support and the quality
Oh
of
yeah.
players, to be able to achieve that. But unfortunately, when there's bad news involved with it, it always seems to overshadow the good of the sport. And obviously, we want to talk about a little bit, about the aftermath and the whole Luis Suarez spitting and Cedro Busquets punching Orbin Vargas. Um, Cespo, you are our special guest, so I'm gonna ask you about it, man. Since um, your
Yeah,
thoughts
man.
on it.
So look, I'm a big Mexican fan, like national player, and Vargas is a very good player for us. So I follow him, right? And then for Seattle to win it twice, it's a big deal. And they have a very good team. But I think this isn't the first time Suarez has done that, and and it's past every time it just escalates more, you know. And you've had it all from him, from being racist to Evra. Y'all remember that?
Yep,
How about Chiellini's bite? You know,
everything.
the penalty, the penalty against Ghana. I mean, as far as it goes to sports, crossing the line between the gray area, but things like that, bro. And it just, to me, at this age, at this level, no matter if the guy is laughing at your face, you've done that before. You're a professional, man. You could talk as much trash as you want on the field, but he stays there. He never gets past the physical part, and I think Vargas handled it pretty well. Just laughing at his face, and Busquets just came with a cheap shot, and two grown men that have been around, just showing a classless display from them, because they they are brought here as an example, and they're just giving nothing but bad examples. It's always been crying and complaining, and it hasn't been the first game. And I think this was just a culmination of everything that's been building up throughout the games. You know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, obviously you expect better from especially like two players of that caliber. Two of the greatest in their positions. Just
Yeah.
for these past 10 and a half years or whatever, however long they've been playing in the top level. But Andres, your thoughts on it?
Really, it's more of a test of courage for MLS because they have to make a big call here. But obviously, as a fan, just watching that happen, it's kind of like that's not just disrespectful, but really puts a stain in the game. And even if it's just Leagues Cup, it goes back to MLS because this is a tournament that's been promoted by the league and really put into everyone's conscience like, hey, this is happening right now. And it cannot say like that. Like it's something that as a human being, it's really just disrespectful to just spit onto someone and really onto like a character like Luis Suarez that has already done all the things that Cespo already mentioned.
Hmm.
It's very
That's a track record.
it's there's a track record that there's a history there that has to be recognized, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's still happening. Luis Suarez should not be forgiven for this, and he should be held accountable. And obviously, there should be punishment.
At the very least, the rest of the season, bro. I
Yeah,
mean,
100%.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't expect something heavy like that, you know.
yeah, me
Like
neither.
it's an unfortunate thing, you know, and obviously he released a statement apologizing about a couple of hours behind, which you know it's kind of one of those PR kind of things or whatever. But I mean, in my opinion, and we'll move on after this. I mean, it's you know, obviously, I think if MLS does hide behind the fact that it happened during a League Cup match and it doesn't supposedly fall
Not
under
their
MLS guidance
jurisdiction.
or whatever because it's a Liga MX MLS sanctioned type of deal, then you know, then obviously, as if we're really gonna be have nobody above the law, then Miami qualified for CONCACAF Champions Cup, so he should be suspended for that tournament fully. In my opinion, if that's the case, if we're gonna hide behind that under that umbrella, obviously Inter Miami has been involved in a lot of matches with Club World Cup and other stuff going on. So they have the most remaining games left on the schedule. And it's going to be a difficult stretch for them these next couple of weeks because they have two games. Like I think they have like 7 games in like 22 days or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, which is a very heavy schedule for them.
Every three
Yeah.
days, man.
And if MLS does decide to suspend Suarez for a couple of those games, then you know obviously that's good on their part, and I applaud them. I guess we'll wait to see what the outcome for that situation will be. But I mean, but like I said, I'm a Suarez fan. I'm a Barcelona fan, you know. So I mean, you know, obviously Suarez, I hold him deeply to my heart. But I mean, but obviously, you know, what's wrong is wrong, and I think you know the fact that he did something despicable like that, it's just it's uncalled for. It's disrespectful first and foremost to spit on anybody, you know.
Yep.
And then secondly, I mean, it's just lack of professionalism, you know, especially during the time period when you have the other team celebrating such a feat, you know, and trying to lift
Yeah.
that trophy. Cespo, I'll let you say something before
So
we go.
so I will say this though. In that sense, I don't see the league like taking any kind of approach without reprimanding Vargas too. And
Well,
I
I mean, you know, I mean, like I said, look, this is the whole point of VAR and video or whatever. So
yeah,
they're gonna check the whole thing, and obviously the big focus right now is obviously the punch Busquets gave to Vargas, and then obviously the spit
the spit.
Suarez did on the elderly gentleman. But like I said, obviously
That's
that's what
an
they're focused.
epidemic, though.
That,
If
that,
you
that
notice,
no, for sure. But I mean, but this right now they're gonna look at the whole situation. They got cameras all over the place. They're gonna see the whole thing. They're gonna see who escalated it, who started it, what happened, blah blah blah. And obviously Suarez and Busquets being the biggest names involved with it, they're gonna be the ones kind of outlined in this whole situation. But
there's
like I
just
said,
I think yeah, there's just been a trend where great players like that, kind of come to the MLS ever since Messi, and they just kind of have
yeah,
this,
and
you
OSG, what's
know,
going on, bud? On the chat says that Miami claims to be working. I mean, like I said, look, I think it's a lot of. I'll say this, and this will be the last thing because obviously we got a lot of Dynamo stuff to talk about. A lot of people are chiming in on like, where's Messi, blah blah blah, this and that, and all this great, and there's all this crazy stuff. And look, it's not the responsibility of a player to criticize another player
yeah.
first and foremost, in my opinion. I know Messi's captain. I know there's a certain standard of being the captain in the face of the franchise. I understand that, but no captain and no league and no sport
No coworker.
is gonna publicly criticize another teammate like that. You know, first and foremost because you're gonna destroy the chemistry. Secondly, you know all that stuff. Regardless of the fact of whatever happens, it's the people who write the checks, the people who organize the events, their responsibility to see what they do with Suarez and whoever else is responsible for the acts that happen after that match. So the whole you know it's always messy this or CR7 that or blah blah blah. You know it's all
We're past that.
banter.
Yeah, we're past that.
It's always banter and stuff like that. And I understand that when you attach Messi to anything, it makes the story 100 times bigger. So, but regardless of what it is, we'll see what happens. Maybe next week we'll have a result to this, and then we'll talk about it then. But with that being said, guys, the Dynamo have finally won a game. You know,
Man,
the
finally.
Dynamo finally won a
Wow.
game,
Look at that.
uh, a thriller. And obviously, we I wasn't on the show last week, but I mean, I'm a couple of weeks back. You know, me and Andres, we were speaking about like, obviously the last 8 to 9 games left. You know, what do you think the possibilities are for the Dynamo to make a run? This is that, and since we had that talk, I mean, it's been 3 games, 5 points. Not the best, not the best, but they're not losing. They're gaining points, but they're not gaining ground, but they're not falling back either. So I mean, we're still kind of in the same, 10th spot. With less games available, I think we're down to 6 games if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes, sir.
six finals to gain one more spot to make it into the at least the play in, which we're 3 points away of. But like I said, let's talk about the St. Louis game though. In my opinion, when I looked at that lineup, dude, I think that is the best lineup that Ben has to his disposal. You know, the best players that he has available for each position started, and that's great to see. The unfortunate thing is players like McGlynn are going to be going off to USA men's national team duties, whatever. Um, Eric, we don't know what the restriction is as far as him coming back from the injury. He looked great. You can see the difference with him on the pitch. You know, so we'll see how that goes. But says Paul, I'll ask you, buddy. What was your thoughts on the formation and obviously the players chosen to start? Oh my God, this guy got a black book on him. He got the Bible on there ready to talk.
On the
Um,
first day, God said, "No."
so I
So,
mean, your thoughts on the lineup selection and obviously the big 3 points. The on the road again.
I mean, jokes aside, oh, jeez. Jokes aside, guys, you call it a thriller. I'll call it a horror show. Okay, don't forget we were up 3-0. Okay, before they came from behind. What do I take away from that? The Dynamo have a good lineup. They have a very solid lineup when they find themselves and when they actually play their game, the team can actually score goals. What do I see? We're very solid defensively with Eric there. It's a whole different team. Arthur doesn't look as bad. So yeah. Now then the I think the critical part and I think the scary part for me is how much we fall apart after subs. How little depth we have. And I mean players, we're starting to look like Chelsea having so many players on the roster. But when it comes down to useful players, we really don't have anybody past Sebas, Basi, maybe Urso, and that's it. You know, so that's what worries me, and I think that's what's going to be our downfall, and we may not make it to the playoffs for that reason.
Andres, I'll ask you, man. I mean, obviously we've been following it on the game for game basis, and I have to agree with what Cespo says as far as when the subs start coming on, the game flow starts to kind of dissipate, and
This
it's not
falls
seem
apart.
yeah, it's not seem at the same. They're not playing at the same level as the starters, and obviously it's great to see the Dynamo score more than one goal a game, or and obviously it's great to see that, but obviously it's also sad to see that that we still have to grip and hold on for dear life, you know, being up 3 goals and not knowing anything can still happen with this group. So your thoughts on the game as far as that goes?
Well, starting with the starting lineup, like seeing Eddie Svechenko like in the flesh, it was like, oh my goodness, amazing. I don't have to see Pablo Ortiz on the field for now, and look, like it's I saw him on the field. I saw him commanding everything. And granted, we're playing St. Louis, a team that has not been that great this year. But just coming back from a long injury, a season where he was expected to be a pillar, and we have not been able to see him for a lot of those games. It was great to see. And defensively speaking, we did pretty well up until the 85th minute. But that's probably another conversation. But I felt pretty good, and obviously we scored 3 goals, and I was like, what is going on? We haven't won in over a month, and we are out here on the road trying to get 3 points, which is great. At the end of the day, like the wins are all that everything that matters to us. But like we were creating all those chances, we were doing everything great up until like the latter half of the second half, and overall, like I was just like, okay, it might happen. It might happen this time. We can bottle it after the second goal, but thankfully it did not happen. But at the end of the day, like on paper, as long as it's a win, I should be okay with that. But
the
I was not
forms,
okay. I was not okay with the end. I was
the
like,
forms, yeah.
okay, I don't want it to happen, but I feel like it's going to happen. So
Didn't it
I
give
don't
you
know.
guys flashbacks of that game against Vancouver? No,
Yeah.
San Diego.
Well,
Yeah,
before, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
yeah, I
Yeah, for
felt like that.
Yeah, for
crazy.
sure. I mean, look. Obviously, it was great to see Eric back on the pitch. Obviously we don't expect him to play a full 90 anytime soon. You know, obviously with the setbacks and the continued setbacks that he's had. You know, so we kind of want to make sure that this time around, especially because we're trying to make this last little playoff run, that we have him around for the full playoff run if we decide. You know, and we watch the minutes that he plays and we watch how he's doing out there. So you know it's a big difference, you know, right? It just shows the level of skill and accountability when you get a player like that on the pitch for you, and it goes to show, like I mean, obviously a clean sheet while he was on, and then he comes off, and then on the last almost 5 minutes of the game, they scored 2 goals, and then they almost scored the third one to tie it up, and it's like man, like it's just one of those things where like they like I don't know what it is, but like the concentration levels these are professionals. You should be concentrating. You should be, you know. Do I expect every game to be a clean sheet? No, obviously I don't, right? But I mean, but do I expect you to give up 2 goals within a 4 minute span when the game is about to end and you're holding on for dear life for playoff positioning? I don't
No.
expect that either. Like you're professionals, you need to understand the situation and make sure that you don't make costly mistakes and dumb things to harm yourselves, and for the situation that we're in, I mean, I think we've seen that way too many times this season, and it's bitten us in the butt too many times, and I was afraid that I was going to do it again, but I mean, thankfully enough, time ran out. And maybe if the game had been another 5 minutes, who knows if we would be talking something different. But thankfully, the Dynamo go on the road, and like I said, road points are golden points.
Yeah,
Unfortunately for us, we're not accumulating any kind of points at home, but on the road this season, it's been crazy. We for some reason we tie, we win games that we're not supposed to be winning,
greedy,
and
greedy
and
games, exciting games. You get everything,
yeah,
bro. You get games
I
with
mean,
1 goal differential, 3 goals. Oh my god,
yeah, I mean, you think about on the road the games against New York City FC, San Diego, San Jose. High scoring games
Vancouver.
that we've won on the road. So I mean, we have a capability, and the thing about it is, obviously everybody talks about like, hey, just make it into the playoffs and anything can happen. It looks to me that for us, even if we make it as the ninth seed, screw it. We don't want to be home for the playoffs. Let's be road warriors. Let's be
The
us
Black
against the
Horse.
world.
Houston
You know,
Dash.
you know, like let us against the world, whatever, type of deal. But we'll see. That's getting way ahead. So, but with that being said, I have we have obviously our show notes before we get on the stream, guys. And I had one of the topics I titled it "The Ballad of Ezekiel Ponce and the Return of Eric Shevchenko," right? And the reason why I titled it that type of way is because there's obviously been a lot of love hate relationship with the Ezekiel Ponce project, right? And then obviously the return of Eric Shevchenko has been obviously phenomenal for this game, obviously purposely, and then hopefully he's the difference to help us make that playoff run, right? But let's get back to Ezekiel Ponce. Scores a goal off a great set piece, off a great kick from Jack McGlynn. Shows the ability of being one of the top headers in the league and all that stuff. And have people still find the fact still find negative things to say about Ezekiel Ponce, right? We'll get to Mr. Cesspool here in a minute, you know. But my whole thing is I feel that Ezekiel Ponce, if he had quality service and open play, would be able to be a 15 to 20 goal scorer in the season, which I honestly hand to Cesspool's Bible. I think that he's capable of that,
I
you know.
agree. I
But but
agree.
but, but I mean, but obviously, he's a one man band right now. I mean, it's basically he's basically being taken off the box by the two center backs because there's nobody else of quality to possess any kind of offense or any kind of issues to take the defense away from Ponce. But you see when he has quality service what he's capable of doing, right? Um, I,
Sometimes,
no, no, no. I think he can do it more constantly if he had more constant service. But like I said, I
right.
mean, it's just one of those things where I don't understand the Ponce hate. Is it because of the price tag? Is it because he's our only DP? Is it because because we expect him to be a high scoring forward like a Suarez or like a Benteke or like a Burgan,
Or
you
like
know,
Pereira in his first year
or
with
like
the Dynamo.
yeah, or Federer
Uh,
did the. I mean, but Ponce has a better per goal per game stat than Ferreira's first season.
well,
You know,
well,
so I mean,
yeah, but I mean, it's 280 minutes a game.
no,
Yeah,
I
that's
know,
two
but
and a half games per goal. Why do you need a forward at 8 million for that? I'm
I,
sorry,
I mean, but hey, you can have just a phone. If you have yeah,
but
price tag. That's I'm sorry, I
But
didn't.
I will say this. No, it's not that I have a lot of hate for Ponce, but not all of the hate is his fault. The coach is exposing him a lot because if you guys notice when he was brought into the Dynamo, he was brought in as a pressing forward, and Ben actually praised that about him. Remember, he was like, "I love the fact that he presses very well." Didn't he say that? So Ponce knew he was going to be alone, but Ponce is not the type of player to shine by himself. And if you notice, when we play Arthur as a CDM, Ponce does not get any touches because, as you said it, he's alone. And we don't have the capable wingers that would actually give you an actual decent
Yeah,
cross. That we can agree on that. And that's where he's exposed and he makes him look bad. That's where the hate comes from. Now, when he does have chances, he mostly scores. Don't let's not forget he's had great chances at home. He's blown out.
yeah, yeah,
Or okay, for 8 million, I think the Dynamo overpaid. That's not his fault. For how he's playing, how he's performing, half of it is, half of it isn't. Because when you do have the chances, you're not capitalizing 100%. He's had 12 fucking big chances missed. Okay, so Dwayne Holmes has a 320 game minute per goal deficit, like average, right? And he has had zero chances missed, right? So how do you argue the fact? How do you not get hate as a player when you're the DP? When we are actually putting him because he's the top DP in the team, and he's had 12 big chances missed. How many of those could have won us a game?
off a broken leg.
yeah. No, no. Look. Obviously, look, as a striker, some strikers have a higher efficiency game than others, right? And Ponce, obviously, he's had some opportunities that he's missed on, whatever is in that. But you can't. I mean, it's like saying, hey, I give a striker 50 opportunities, and out of those 50 opportunities, he scores 25 goals. That's just 50% rate, right? Great. He has 25 goals out of 50%. But if I give another striker 20 chances and he misses, nine, you know, but he has 11 goals, then that's a 45% rate. So he's at a lower cost, So it's like, it just depends on the rate.
Yeah, but
We
that's
we
not
we
his
we
effect.
we,
That's not his shooting
we,
percentage.
we
That's not
focus
his
a lot.
effective rate.
Yeah. So we focus a lot on his miscues and whatever, because he has so few opportunities. So when those opportunities occur, you want him to take full advantage of that and make sure that he makes those goals, right? Because we know that those opportunities don't come up all the time, and obviously,
Right.
so we zoom in and tunnel focus on that issue.
Okay.
And
Let me ask you one question then. If he scores 10 goals throughout the entire season, do you think that was a good season?
no, 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 I don't think it was a
Okay.
good season.
How many goals did he score last season? And in how much time?
Well, I mean, he was only half season, so I mean, he had what, five, I think 6 goals in like 12 games or something like that.
That was very good.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But I mean, but you
We
had, but
expect
you had,
all
but,
we
but you,
expected was the same level of performance,
I
and
mean,
it
yeah,
just
but I mean, but you don't have the same level of players on the field with him. That's the thing, So like, you got to
and that's where
understand.
Yep.
that's where then that's not his fault. But then the only argument I would have, pretend I didn't say the stuff that I just said now, and just to kind of even out the field, because I think I have a bigger reason. And I think that reason is, if you are a forward that doesn't have that many chances and you're very isolated and you were brought in to pressure and play as a post like he was, why do you not have more assists? You only have one.
But he's a press. But he's a holding nine. He's a holding nine. I mean, he's not one of those, like, that comes back for the ball. I mean, look, he already plays deep enough, right? And he tries to come in, get the ball back from defense or whatever, and he makes the pass, and then he runs to his spot to go
Right.
get in the box, right? So I
Okay.
mean, so he's that type of nine. He's not a playmaking nine. He's your typical number nine. Center forward. He's not that striker type that moves around, is able to play on the wing or play on the side or play in and out or whatever.
But he's an area driven striker, and we saw
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And I guess we can agree that we do need quality behind him, and I think we need to be more aggressive when Linger is
yeah,
behind him. I think the team is able to
for
penetrate more,
sure.
because so on that I will agree. I just think that the hate is justified because of how many goals he scored throughout the season and the chances. I mean, I can name you how many big chances the Dynamo have missed, but it's not just him. It's just that he's the one that's missed the most.
No, for sure. I
Now
mean,
it is
because
expected
because
because that means
because
we're
because
shooting.
because he's
Yeah,
your DP, because he's your DP number nine. You spend
right.
$8 million, whatever. With that, it comes expectations, right? And that's what I'm saying. I guarantee you put Ponce on Seattle, you put Ponce on Miami, you put Seattle on LAFC.
Absolutely.
The
Or
guy
with
has
Coco.
the
Or
guy
with
has
Coco.
20 the guy has
Plenty of
20 goals.
service.
Or with
So
Coco. He'll have 20 goals with Coco. Or
yeah,
or
so
with or
so, so
with
I mean,
Arthur in his prime.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the, like, I feel like we're trying to do to him what ended up happening to Sebastian Ferreira, right?
We liked
Sebastian.
Sebas. We did like Sebas. The coach
No,
didn't
no,
like him.
no, dude. I love
We
Sebas.
don't we don't
I
like Ponce.
I,
That's the
I, I
difference.
love I love Sebas, but the thing is that Sebas was, unfortunately, he came in a time before Olsen, and he wasn't Olsen's player, and
Yeah.
he didn't play Olsen's type of game, right? So that's why he was eventually pushed off. Ponce was brought in because he fits better in Olsen's scheme or whatever, and this and that, and that's great. But at the end of the day, we've seen that Olsen's scheme is very, 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 what's the word I'm looking for?
Very
Very
shaky.
thin, very
Very
thin on
unstable.
no, very thin on the offensive side.
Okay.
It's very bulimic.
Defensive driven,
Yeah,
not very many risks, control
yeah,
balls, slow pace. Yeah.
Inconsistent.
it's
Yeah.
very anemic,
Very slow build up.
and on top of that, very few chances to score. So, like I said, Ponce could have 50 chances with LAFC, and he could score 20, 25 goals. On the Dynamo, he might have 20 chances and score 9 goals. That's just the outcome, because the more opportunity you give somebody, the more the opportunity they have to score. You know,
Yeah.
and he doesn't get that opportunity here. So that's the only thing that I'm trying to, kind of
Hey, I buy that argument.
I'm trying to screw it out. I'm trying to screw it out to the crowd, because like I said, I think
What do
that
you think,
if,
chat?
if we can find a playmaker a great playmaker like an Evander type, or like a Lucho Acosta when in his prime or whatever. So a playmaker like that to be behind him, then I think you're gonna get your investment back on Ponce. But that's
I
neither here
mean,
nor there.
so I mean, if Dele Alli was watching, I'll be like, "Hey, Dele Alli, come to Dynamo,"
Dele Alli.
bro.
Dele
We'll
Alli,
No,
see,
but I
man.
mean,
man.
Yeah,
or
but
at
I
least
mean
not
that,
Breeze,
that,
you
that was
know?
just my little
Shoot.
rant on that because, like I said,
Yeah,
I continue to see the Ponce hate, and like I said, look, the three that were behind him as far as McGlynn, Linger, and Anali to start off the game. I mean, those are the best three playmakers that you have available or offensive driven players that you have on your squad to help them out. And obviously you saw what a difference they made. He scored a goal. He was involved in the second one that ended up being an own goal. And all that stuff. So he was a lot more involved in this game the first 60 minutes when he had those three guys behind him. So I hope we get to
yeah.
see that more often, and I hope we get to see that against the Galaxy this weekend. But we'll get to that here in a bit. I want to talk about the return of Eric Shemersinko. Andres, I'm going to come to you because obviously I know you're the president of the fan club of Pablo Ortiz, and you hate to see your guy be benched for any reason, but
They posted a
just
story earlier, and yeah, they went to breakfast or something.
yeah. So I mean, so just how do you feel about Eric's return, and then obviously what do you think about the restrictions as far as his minutes going, and do you think that he is the key to making this playoff run be a successful run?
It goes back to something that we have been discussing over the course of the season about the lack of that vocal leader or that captain that just tells you what is going on and what needs to be addressed. And going all the way back to last year and the year before, like Eric Svechenko has been that player that not only could tell people in the media, like answer all their questions and you stay behind in the mix zone about what's going on. But he also like in the times we've been able to like go into the locker room to ask questions about a pretty bad loss or something that happened in the game that has to be addressed. Like Eric has been that type of player that could tell you with all his honesty what is going on and what needs to change. And I feel like a lot of the bad things happening this year comes down to the fact that Svechenko has been missing all that time in the team because that type of leadership was missing. And I'm not saying that Artur being a captain had something to do with that, but just the fact that Svechenko has been missing for such a long time, I feel like it affected the team in the cohesion of the back line.
Yeah.
Because you could see the games, you could see every single time Svechenko was missing, and the back line was like hastily like formed. Like every single time, it was just so inconsistent, and the fact that he wasn't there, it gave us like an understanding that okay, this game could have been lost already, or this game is just out of our hands now. We can't do anything about it. Like the attack is just too much, but like having Eric back is such a big thing for us because like we haven't seen it this year. We haven't seen it especially at home in games that
Yeah.
we have to really win, and we have been blown out at home so many times, and it has not happened in our history before. Like Svechenko is like so important to us because he was brought back, and the injury was so unfortunate. It came at such an unfortunate time because it was literally at the start of the season it
Yeah.
happened, and we are still suffering the consequences. We are now fighting for the last seed in the playoffs, hopefully more if we happen to win out somehow. But uh, this is our situation right now. Like Svechenko is back. We don't know how many games he's gonna play. We don't know his situation, but for me, it's such uh, a breath of fresh air because we now have a good piece in the back line, and obviously we get to talk about what happened in the transfer window later. But having him back is such a big thing because he's going to be in the locker room telling the players what's going on, just being honest about things and talking things through, and just being to an extent the voice of the fans because you see him on every single time he comes to like social media for the team or every time somebody else grabs a clip from him. Like you could tell, like he's being really honest about what's going on, and talking to things that fans want to hear, and that's very important.
Yeah, and that's the true signs of a leader. I mean, look, the biggest, I think the biggest blow from this season was you basically lost two coaches that were on the pitch, and Hector Herrera and Shevchenko and Eric Shevchenko, and that's why like, our teams from the last 2 years were really strong on the defense and strong on the midfield because you had two individuals who were basically coaches on the pitch and were able to line up their players if they were out of formation and tell them, hey guys, we need to step up, or I need you here. We had the chemistry, we had the communication of between the groups, and the players on those ends of the pitch. But and no disrespect to our captain Arthur, but he's not that vocal leader, and that's fine. We're not asking, some people are not vocal like that. Some people are uh more leaders through the way they play, or through the way they carry themselves or whatever. Leadership comes in many different forms and facets and different types. So right. But like, yeah, there's an earthquake at Cesspool's house.
I'm sorry,
Uh,
guys.
but yeah, man. Like I said, I mean, it's good to see him back. And like I said, I think the Dynamo have to do what's best as far as making sure that he's available for these last 6 games.
Of
So that
course.
way you have him available. So if that means him only playing 45 minutes a game, then that's what it is. And then we have to figure out the last 45, the other 45, and make sure that we don't lower our standards defensively when he's not on there. Because obviously somebody has to take the reins when he's not there. And obviously you saw the difference of the first half as opposed to the second half. First half, it's reminiscent of the top tier Western Conference team that we were the last couple of seasons, because we had a leader on the pitch who was able to make sure that the defense was where they needed to be. And then once you take that part off, we go back to this year's version of Dynamo, which is barely hanging on for dear life in the playoff run,
Don't
type
remind
of
me.
thing. So yeah, man. So I mean, it's obviously, like I said, it's great to see him back. I'm happy. So I just hope that he's able to make it to to the end of the season, and then hopefully into the playoffs if we're able to qualify for that. Guys, I mentioned this earlier in the show, but I mean, the lineup against St. Louis FC. I mean, me personally, I think that should be the lineup for the rest of the season to start off with every game. I think that's the lineup. Don't that's barring any injuries, or obviously international duties like Miguelin being out pretty soon. But
I think Urso does a good job though covering him. I
yeah,
mean, he doesn't give you the same offensive capabilities, but he's quick too, and he's quicker than Arthur, and he can cover that space. He's good to recover on counterattacks. If you just kind of lose that educated foot
offensive
that McLean
offensive phase.
has,
Yeah,
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 but
because
it's not so bad.
McGlynn is not a speed demon by any chance, whatever. So
Hmm.
so obviously you're not losing any velocity there. But Andres, what do you think about us the starting 11 for this past week against St. Louis? Do you think do we need consistency? Do you think this is the starting 11 you want to keep consistently seeing on the pitch to start the games?
I do. Obviously, Svechenko just being there definitely gives me security that things are going to be okay. But it's also going to come down to the fact that how many opportunities that we're going to create, and in games that we don't even have, like McGlynn, for example, or also just have like Laura Sonali not being available for 90 minutes. Those those opportunities are gone. I feel like without those two players, I feel like we're going to be crippled as a team,
Yeah.
and that tells you a lot because those two players have been massive for us, especially Jack McGlynn just coming in and just being probably one of our best players in the season so far.
Oh no, he is.
And
He's the highest rated player in the team for sure.
I
No,
wouldn't
I
be
Yeah.
mean, no
surprised,
doubt,
honestly.
no doubt about it. He's at a 7.2.82 rating. No, yeah, he's one of the highest. He's the highest rated in the team. And it's no surprise, man. I mean, the guy can dish out an assist and he can score a goal from free kick too. So, or a long shot, with his signature shot.
And just a goddamn kid, man. It's just a matter of time whenever he's gonna leave to Europe. Like that's a time where we're gonna have to be extremely worried because he's like half the team right now. So,
Yeah.
well,
But I mean,
yeah,
if he leaves a
there's a good
hefty
storyline.
amount,
Yeah,
if he leaves a hefty amount, Dynamo should have no problem finding somebody for a cheaper amount that can
of
definitely
course.
not maybe fill the hole, but then again, with them and the front office, I'm not too sure what to expect at
Yeah,
this point.
there has to
Which
be a
leads
big
us,
price cut. It has to be a big price cut because Philly get 50%. So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to say.
That's the unique thing about that situation. But cesspool. I mean, I'll ask you the same question. Your thoughts on the lineup, and is this the lineup that you want to see for the last 6 games, constantly starting?
uh, having our weakest link being Arthur, but yeah, it's definitely the strongest lineup we have. I mean, I would if I wanted a little more offensive capabilities out of the Dynamo, I would replace Arthur, put McGlynn, and then put Sebas or Basi on the other side. But we've tried that, and we leave holes behind. So I think that's the best lineup. Gives us a good balance. McGlynn is a player that can play in the center and then cut out, and then somebody like Reigns that can is a very good box to box midfielder. So he covers the gaps. He's on both sides of the field. Not only that, man, but that guy is getting better and better at passing the ball. I'm just amazed at how well he's progressed throughout the season. So yeah, I think that's the best we got.
Yeah, for sure. Let me go to the chat here a little bit, and Jeff on the chat talking about McGlynn and Reigns. We're supposed to be replacing. I guess Pat had said somewhere about them replacing Achacha and Coco, but I mean, look, both players are very very young, and you're talking about two players who are well. Acha obviously we knew what he was, and Coco being going into the prime of his career, and obviously being the leader and captain of this Panamanian national team and having the eyes that he has. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Coco put much that much longer and he gets calls for European teams here pretty soon as well, right? It's those are big shoes to fill, huge shoes to fill, especially for 20-year-olds, that are coming in and actually enjoying big amount of minutes in their professional careers. McGlynn, obviously, we love what we're seeing from him, and obviously he came really well recommended, and obviously him being a part of the U.S. men's national team is saying something. The same thing with Reigns, him being part of the U20s,
My
it
favorite
speaks
player.
volume to it speaks volume to the capability that he has and what potential he has. But like I said, it's very hard to depend on such young players like that to replace big shoes of veteran leaders and captains of their national teams, um, to replace those kind of shoes, especially Ache, who's been very successful player in Europe and, especially in the
Becado.
national team in Mexico and things of that nature. So Jeff says McGlynn is the new Brad Davis. Hey man, he has that left foot. Maybe not as good as Brad Davis's because that Brad Davis's was kind of
Oh
up
no,
there.
bro, he's getting there. I mean, he's scored some screamers at the national
Yeah, I
team
mean,
and with the Dynamo already. So he
well,
and
I
he's
mean,
young, so
no, for sure, for sure. I mean, obviously, we've already seen all of Brad Davis's
he's not
career,
there
so
yet.
obviously,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
not there
So
yet, but he's making a case. Yes.
yes. I mean, if everything goes well and barring any injury, he definitely could be an eclipse Brad Davis and what he was able to do. But yeah, guys, I mean, it's the lineup that I constantly want to see at these last 6 games. So we'll see what happens. But with that being said, as far as lineups go, and obviously we talked about the deficiency of the bench and stuff like that. We do have new additions to talk about, and new players coming in. And I
Signings.
obviously I want to hear your thoughts and ideas about these players that are coming in. Sergio Santos is coming in from FC Cincinnati, who was a striker who's been with them for the last two years. I think I have here in my notes. And then
He's
obviously
31, being with Cincy.
Damian Lowe, who is returning to MLS after 1 year in the Saudi League. He was previously with Philadelphia Union, and for some reason I can't see where else he was at. Inter Miami. Um, a Jamaican national team player who obviously has that going around with him, and he's been very good at MLS during his time with Philadelphia and Inter Miami. And then I'm pretty sure y'all talk about this guy the last week's show, when the show that I missed, but coming over from Europe. Played in the Bundesliga with shoot, I don't know why.
Oppenheim.
Hoffenheim. There you go.
Yeah.
Uh, Dia Dia Dia.
Okay.
Diadie Samaseku.
Let's make it
There you
clear,
go.
bro. He
Masa-
didn't come from Hoffenheim. He
No, no, no. He was
actually
he
he's
was
a
a
free
free he was a
agent that
free yeah
got
he's
that
a
got that
no he
loaned
was a
in
free
there.
All
agent.
Yeah.
three are free agents.
All
Yeah.
three free
All
agents.
three.
So
Please,
so
okay?
yeah,
They're
I
not
mean
saviors. They're not saviors. They're
yeah.
just depth pieces in case we make it to the playoffs. Disclaimer, please, because y'all are gonna
So
see that the Ami or whatever the name is.
no, no,
You're
no,
gonna
for
see
sure, for
this
sure, for sure,
price
for sure,
tag
for
and
sure,
nah,
for sure, for sure,
no.
for sure, for sure. But with that being said, obviously Jeff happily mentions it is Sergio Santos' birthday, so shout out to Sergio Santos. Happy birthday to you, my guy. Hopefully,
Yeah.
you get to celebrate that birthday this weekend with a Dynamo goal for us. Um, but
Yes.
yeah, free. Obviously, the big thing there is, yeah, players that have played around the MLS who are experienced in MLS, but like Cesspool mentioned, free agents. Basically, I guess for lack of a better term,
Yeah, that
kind of
sería.
kind of scrap players that were available. Andres, I'm pretty sure you've looked up all the players and you have information on them. You're just if you want to give us some more in detail um, about these players, let us know.
Diadie Samaseku, I've been able to talk to about him in the last episode, but
Okay.
I was very surprised at the last two signings because I shouldn't say so surprised because they were free agents. I did on the day, so I feel like the Dynamo were just like seeking out the scraps after the transfer window closed because we discussed the idea of Masego coming in and then it was like, okay, did they bring in anybody else? Did they announce the two signings this week? And I was like, free agents. I guess it can work out for us as left
No, no,
pieces.
no, no movement in the crotch area for you.
No, bro. If anything,
Goddamn.
No
downward.
movement, no movement.
Nah,
Okay, okay. I just want to make sure. I just want to
I
make sure.
mean, there's like no transfer fee involved. It was like what should I think? Like, what's gonna
Yeah.
happen? But like, there's been hints all over the season, just basically us saying that okay, we're bringing in people that are already like injured without a contract. Obviously, we talked about Juan Cordova trying to come in, but apparently he failed his physical, so they haven't signed him yet. Now we're dealing with free agents that don't have a contract that they're bringing in now. So it's kind of like, I guess they're making a late push for playoffs with the resources they have, but it's like,
For what?
So let me
no.
play devil's let me play devil's advocate a little bit. Let me play a little bit of devil's advocate here.
Ooh.
So obviously, like I mentioned, for lack of a better term, scrap players, right? Free agents who just. But if I'm trying to be an optimistic person, optimistic fan, I'm trying to look for that little ray of sunlight in the dark clouds of Dynamo world. Maybe they're players that are motivated to resurrect their careers, and they have the opportunity to do that here. And if they do it here, maybe we get a little bit of a diamond on the in the rough. Because I mean you are talking about a player and that has a lot of experience in the Bundesliga.
7 years
You,
ago.
you know, you
I
have
mean,
a
I
you,
mean,
you have you. I mean, he's European. He's European tested. Um, you,
European detested, bro.
you
He's
you
loaned
you you
ended,
you
bro, and
you
didn't
have
get
you
picked
have you
up.
you you have a Jamaican national team player who
Yeah,
obviously
that is a very solid pick, to be honest with you,
it's a solid pickup.
because he's been great with the national team.
Yeah,
He played great again. I mean, against Guatemala, he did his part. I mean, again, that
and
is a
then
very solid pickup on defense.
yeah,
I will
and
say
and
that.
and and then you pick up a technically a backup striker who has to compete with nephew. So I mean, it's you,
I don't understand. It still baffles me how much we need Thor, now. Dude, we had those pieces that we're looking for now. Like, you wanted a scrappy forward. Thor was
Throw out
there.
the
See,
bench. Yeah.
I mean,
hey,
oh my God, I'm
some
sorry, guys.
sometimes you only get to miss what you used to have once they're gone. So
Okay,
Yeah.
Papandoye, Isaiah Reed.
yeah.
Oh my
Um,
god.
so
Eric Bird, bro.
so obviously we no movement, no kind of excitement from any one of these players coming in. You know,
Low, I will say, I'm very interested in Low. There wasn't he injured in the like a few months ago?
I don't think he. I didn't see anything about any
Was it
injury.
him or the one of the two? But Low, like I said, he's a proven national player. He's got experience. He's played at international level, and now he's played at several clubs. Coming back to the MLS, has great experience playing in the Saudi league. I'm not saying he's a great pickup, but that's more something that we can get accustomed to. That's something that's a little more credible credentials than having played in, I don't know, where did Sebas come from? Germany, or I don't know. I'm
Oh,
not. eh,
Poland.
Yeah, exactly. So again, you know. To me, I think that's a better pickup because we are very shaky on defense when Eric is not there, and we're just giving Ortiz plenty of chances, and we've paired even with Andrade with Ortiz, and it's not worked out. So I think he's going to be a very solid defender coming in, a very solid sub. He's going to be a guy that when we want to play with three defenders on the back, he's going to be one of those. I can see that happening.
Or so it's basically center back by committee now.
Imagine if he comes in at the level he's played before, or even a little slightly lower than Eric, bro. We have two great pairings right there, and
Yeah,
then
I mean
an
it's
up
true.
and coming defender like Femi can.
But that's what I'm reverting to as far as being playing the devil's advocate. Is like, yes, they're free agent signings and this and that, and they're not really
Yeah,
they're not really exciting names or big names, but what if one of these hits
yeah.
out it is a hit, and they
He
and let's say
reminds me of.
low establishes our defensive line, and
Right. No,
or
absolutely. That's the only player that I'm. If you notice on the backtrack, I kind of really didn't say much about him, because that's the only player I think can actually be useful. I'm not sure what a 31-year-old forward is going to do with us. We already have Ponce. We have the nephew, and we have guys coming in from the back.
yeah,
Uh, we have who's that guy coming playing in Dyna 2, the number 10, Diego something. He can be called up, bro. He's just as good as a nephew. So
Joe Gonzalez, the legend. He's
Gonzalez.
injured though, so it's gonna be a
yeah,
Yeah,
while.
so like, but he's been in the team the entire season, never given a chance once, and he's been the star the entire time. You know that.
that's the
So
that's that that's the misconnection of Dynamo 2 and Dynamo, but
uh, and
that's another topic for another show.
no, no, but it is related to us bringing in scrappies. Let's call them that, the scrappies. And so, but the only player that I can see being useful because of our conditions is gonna be low, and in the top when it comes to camp up, we're very saturated. We just have too many players. You know.
Yeah. So, anything, Andres? Do you want to add anything else about any one of these three players? Anything else that you want to add before we move on?
Honestly, for Damian Lowe, I feel like he's like the most necessary piece that we need right now,
Mhm.
especially experience at the back line because we have been struggling for so long this year.
Mhm.
And Sergio Santos, I've been wondering how are we gonna play him. I feel like it's just gonna be off the bench now because we're not gonna switch to forward line or anything like that. I feel like it's just gonna be like Ponce and then Sergio Santos coming into the game, or we're gonna be rotating with Santos with him afterwards. So that and Dia de Sanoseco, we kind of just talked about it in the last episode. But probably rotating in between if Jack McLean is playing with the national team or Brooklyn Reigns is missing. It remains to be seen, but I feel
Yeah.
like those are probably like our best options.
Oh man, do I miss Blessing?
Blessing was
Blessing, man.
free,
Yeah.
was available for the whole time.
I'm not
Um,
even gonna tell you what happened with them. A lot of people would be mad. You
yeah.
know, the
What you
Dynamo
call
would
it?
just the Dynamo would just not start him, and he was just not willing to not take to not be given a chance for a starting spot. And he
Yeah.
can tell you himself, like the Dynamo coach said, you are not gonna be nothing more than a sub. You know, and he said, actually Pat said it in a press conference, and that turned him off, and he said, never mind. Imagine,
Yeah.
crazy, bro.
You got to give the opportunities. But yeah, with that being said, obviously, I guess we'll see what Sergio Santos is. I mean, maybe he's just a Brazilian, Olusanya, who got transferred to, or he got loaned it to Doncaster. I don't know if y'all spoke about that last week's show, but I mean, obviously, short-lived Dynamo career with us. One assist in what, 6 games. So it is what it is. But with that being said, obviously, guys, we got a game to look forward to this Saturday, and it's a makeup game from when Mother Nature was saving us during that horrific homestand that we were having, losing every game basically at home. And Mother Nature said, "You know what? Enough of this bullshit. Boom! Here's Thunderbolts." Um, LA Galaxy are coming in, and they're coming in on a high for a team whose MLS season has been done for like the last 2 months. They showed out in League Cup, got third place. They will be in next year's Champions Cup tournament, which is great for them. That's back to back years. Obviously, last year they
Yeah.
lifted up MLS Cup, and then this year they placed third in League's Cup. So those guys are coming up in a high. They feel good. They feel great. We don't know what kind of team we're gonna see on Saturday, as far as like them when man they're just playing for respect, and for the pride of Los Angeles, just want to be spoilers. And they definitely have the experience, the skills, and the players capable of making it tough for the Dynamo to continue on this streak of gaining points. And then throw on top of that, it being a home game, which this season a home game is devastation. Pure devastation. But your thoughts on the game this Saturday, Cesspool? I know you're going to be in the supporter section, yelling proud, yelling loud and proud, and all that good stuff. What do you expect to see? Do you think this is a trap game for the Dynamo, where obviously, like I said, Galaxy coming off the high of that League's Cup? Do you think we're going to see the same level of Galaxy this Saturday, or will they just kind of they're waiting for the season to finish?
Well, personally speaking, those games are always very heated, man. That's kind of our unofficial rival now. The both LA teams, because those games get pretty intense and there's a lot of hate. So we've had their fans here. So when it comes to that, I think they were focusing more on the Leagues Cup and it being the fact that okay, the season's over, but now they're still gonna try to win for pride. They're still gonna want to take those points away from us. I mean, they don't make it, they don't want us to make it, period. I don't expect them to give us anything or take it easy on us. Why would they? you know and now they're just playing for their pride. Now they're just playing for their, to end the season on a good note, and evaluate which players they keep. And I think every player is going to want to stay, knowing they're going to compete for a good tournament next year. And I don't think they're going to take a light on us. Not at all.
Yeah. Andres, same question to you, buddy. What LA Galaxy team do you expect to see this Saturday?
I feel like it's gonna be very surprising, also because we have to consider the fact that Jack McQuinn is gonna be missing. So we're gonna be dealing with a potentially tough LA Galaxy, and us seeing new faces with Dynamo trying to salvage a win out of this game. Obviously, we talked previously about home being a different place for us historically this year because we haven't been able to get home wins at all.
Mhm.
And I feel like in this game, it's gonna be. I feel like it's just gonna be more so as always. Like LA Galaxy is trying to find Houston off off the line, off the back line, trying to force the counter, or just trying to outpace them as much as possible because they do have a good forward line, do have some good offensive pieces that can set up passes very well, and
And they're
it's
quick on
gonna
the counter.
they're quick
They're
on the
quicker than
counter.
our guys on the
Oh,
counter.
they have great wingers.
They are, yeah. And it's gonna come down to our defense just staying on their toes. Sviatchenko playing maybe, or Damian Lowe playing. We don't know, but we'll see. But it's
I
gonna
do
come down
see
to
a switch there. To be quite honest with you, I do expect the Dynamo to have to not be so aggressive as they were at St. Louis, and to have a player more in the middle or more back as an anchor. I don't
See,
expect
yeah.
us to come out aggressive.
and that's the thing, and that I think that's why I don't think we're a playoff team because while you're at home, that's where you're supposed to play aggressive. That's where you're supposed to be the aggressor, you know.
Yeah, but you don't
And
have the
like
pieces, and he
yeah,
knows
yeah,
that.
but I mean, and with that being said, I mean, I think that the LA Galaxy, are full of players that obviously have played in high level games throughout the careers. Players like Marco Royce, Yoshiba, Diego Fagundes, players of that nature who have played big matches in their careers. And regardless of wherever they're standing in the table and whether or not they have a chance to make playoffs or their season has been over for the last month and a half or whatever, they had those type of players have pride. Those are professional.
Heritage.
Those are professional players, and if they can't make the playoffs or they can't do nothing else but just show pride, they're gonna come out here and they're gonna give us all they have. And with that being said, if the Dynamo are lackluster, how they've been at home, would I be surprised if the Dynamo lose to the Galaxy 3-0? I would not. You know, um, Christian comes in the chat, says, "Love the mass cesspool, NWO red and black." Um, is that red or is that supposed to be orange?
No, it's red. So this is a special Halloween edition of Pentagon's mask.
Oh,
You
okay,
know,
okay.
I had my homie, kind of, hey, bro, I
Uh,
like this mask. I like it like this, like this. How about it? Yeah,
there you go. There you go. Model it for us,
Nice.
baby. But yeah, man. I mean, obviously, I think the Galaxy. Obviously they missed their big player and Ricky Puig. But I mean, but they
yeah,
have.
throw him off.
But I mean, but obviously we know that they have the capabilities with the run that they had in League Cups to still be a great team with players like Gabriel Peck, Paintsell, Fagundes and Marco Ruiz and all those players. So I mean, I think it's going to be a tough game for the Dynamo to play, especially if the Galaxy come in here with the want to go play. So I mean, I don't know.
It's a
It's tough.
6 point match, man, because that match can sink us further, or that can actually elevate us. That could put us at number 9, or that could put us all the way to 11, 12.
Yeah,
Uh,
I guess it just depends. I mean, the thing, this is the thing, and me and Andres, we spoke about this. Like the 9, 10, 11, 12 spots, which obviously is four teams battling for that one last spot, right? It seems like nobody wants it, and de facto, obviously, because San Jose sits there, they're able to keep it, right? Because they're not doing that well either. But obviously, we're not doing that well either, and
I
then
mean,
obviously,
when he
and obviously
mattered,
the
they
Rapids.
answer the call when he mattered,
Yeah,
against
yeah,
us,
yeah, and then obviously the Rapids and Frisco are not doing anything to try to move up either. But I mean, but obviously, like I said, somebody has to occupy that number 9 spot, and like I said, at the end of the year, hopefully
Why
it's
not us?
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. Predictions. Cesspool. I'll go with you first.
You want me to lie to you?
No, no, I want the truth. I want
Oh,
the
okay.
truth.
No. Um. Okay. I'll say 1-0 Dynamo under one very very big stipulation, and that is the team actually comes out playing the same way they did, and even with subs, they keep the same. At least concentration level. If they can stay concentrated, the team can actually pull a win out of that. We've beaten much better LA teams, but
Yeah, for
again,
sure.
it comes down to concentration and what side of the bed their players woke up on. But 1-0.
We've been much better teams this season. I mean, we've seen sparks.
Uh,
Um,
I don't know.
I
I don't
mean,
know that San Diego is a better team than LA Galaxy and LA FC, but you know, I digress.
New York City FC is a team that's was better. Who I mean, where we got who scores the goal?
Uh, Ponce.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, he's hot.
There you
He's
go.
he's
We've
hot,
been
bro.
talking
He's
about
hot.
Ponce. Like
There
you
you
like
go. There
Ponce,
you go.
man.
Now,
He's a big Ponce fan.
I
however,
want to flip him.
however,
I want to flip him. I want to flip him.
okay, however, if we don't play a cam,
We
we're
don't
not
play.
gonna score anything, bro.
Andres, your prediction, my guy.
I got 2-1 Houston. Just off vibes, I feel like this is a game that the team understands. Like, okay, we have to win this game, even though it should have been like that's the start of the year. We have to win this game.
Yeah.
and like we're in a desperate situation where we're coming off the wing of St. Louis, and 6 games ago, it's gonna like we cannot afford any more opportunities. Um, first goal I got Ponce, and second goal I'm always gonna say it. It's gonna be an Ollie.
I
Okay,
love,
yeah,
I love,
very good, very good pick, man.
I love the Ponce love. So you say 2-1 Dynamo?
Yeah,
Let's see. Christian
After
Christian
after your
says,
prediction, I want to ask the audience a question so y'all can post it on
okay,
your
okay.
socials and see what the fans think. You
Yeah,
know,
Christian says need that cam. Are you talking about attacking midfielder or a cesspool's camera?
Basti, bro. It's always Basti, man.
Vasi the cam. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna be a little bit. I'm gonna go on the more realistic side, I think, and well, maybe not as realistic because obviously we've been so horrible at home. I'm gonna go with the 2-2 tie.
okay.
Um, yeah, so I mean, obviously a better result than what we've been having at home. So I think, like I said, the Galaxy are going to come to play, and I think the Dynamo are gonna want to continue uh, grabbing points wherever they can, and obviously. As long as you're not losing games and you're gaining points, you're still giving yourself an opportunity to move up the table. So I'm going to give them the 2-2 tie. Who do I have scoring? Shit, you know what? I'm gonna continue the Ponce love. Ponce brace. That's what I'm gonna say. We're gonna get them to double digit goals in the MLS season. Yeah. So with that being said, I mean that's hopefully we'll see what happens. We'll recap it next week when we're on. Cespo says 1-0 Ponce goal. Andres says 2-1, but a goal from Ponce and Inali, and I say 2-2. Dynamo tie with Ponce brace. So we'll see what happens with that. What's the question that you wanted to ask the fan base, Cesspool, before we move on?
All right, kiddos. So next year, right? We know
2026.
Tarbell is already going to a retirement home. We know Bond is not very young either. We have a very good goalkeeper there called Blake Gilligan. Yay or nay, guys? What do you think? Tell me your thoughts because me and my girl think that Blake Gilligan is a better choice for the Dynamo than Jonathan Bond, you know? But what do
Mm-hmm.
you guys think? What do you think, Che?
Christian says 3-1 Dynamo. Hopefully, Christian, we'll see. My opinion, look, Bond. I think Bond is a suitable goalkeeper. Do I think he's the top echelon of goalkeeping that we have that we need to go to the next level? No. Obviously, it's not entirely his fault. The back line has been trash and that doesn't really
Leaky.
help him out.
Leaky,
But
bro.
I mean, man, Gillingham, like I said, Gillingham was a great story in the beginning of the season. I do think he comes back, but even if he does come back, I don't him as a starter right off the bat. I don't think that's the way to go either.
I
I
mean,
think
he played
I, no no
exceptionally well. I don't think we needed Bond to be quite honest, which especially when Jimmy Marr was going to come back.
yeah, but I think if he's back as our number two, obviously look the guy's still young. Goalkeeping is a lot different. You can be in your 40s, so as far as goalkeeping age, he's still young and he's still
Yeah, bro. But we
he
do have a talent to waste goalkeepers. Like Xavier, like Nico Hansen, which is a starter in Colorado, which is crazy. As if
yeah.
we had him. If only we would have had him last year and kept him. You
No,
know.
yeah, but I mean, but like I
I
said,
mean, my thing is, I just want to stop wasting players, man. We're starting to become Chivas, where our academy
oh,
players are not working out in the team, or they're not given the opportunity. They get thrown out to other teams, and they're thriving
well, I mean that's why everybody chooses to go to Frisco's academy over ours. So that's always been the situation. So I
because
mean,
Xavier is playing with Nashville, right? And
yeah,
then Nico
yeah.
is with Colorado. Two youngsters that we had in the academy last year, bro. I mean, but again, so that my thing is, then let's bet on a young goalkeeper. We obviously, Coach Goda has a talent to spot great players. Why not?
no, for sure, for sure, for sure. I mean, like I
Pedro
said,
Cruz on the watch list. Let's
I'm a,
go.
I'm, I'm
Mhm.
a Gillingham fan. I like Pedro Cruz from what I've seen from him as well. Obviously, Andres. I think Andres has shown that he's a Gillingham fan, and stuff like that. But
Gilligan is my fan, tough. I'm gonna defend that mother. You know,
okay, okay. He's a president of the cesspool club, so I get you. I got it. I got it.
we
Um,
exchange presidencies. We you know he's the president of my club and I'm the president of his club.
There you go. That's cool. Hey, hey, I got you. You got to have your man's back. But I mean, I do see him continuing with us next season, maybe as a backup, but I don't see him
I
being the number
man,
one.
I know, and it's just a
Yeah.
waste because that guy has a bright future, just like
Well,
Sebas
I mean,
Rodriguez,
like I said,
just
I mean,
like
you know,
Femi. They're just being exposed, and there's a lot expected out of them, and I just think they're being set up to not succeed in our team.
we'll see what happens. I guess that's a question for the chat and for the people out there
Gilligan,
for the
yay or nay, guys?
for goalkeeper for next year. But to stay on this here, 6 games left. Andres, I'll get with you. Obviously, you were at 5%. Then you were like at 5.75%. Now after this win, where are you at as far as the Dynamo making that playoff, that last playoff spot, getting that last playoff spot now?
I'm gonna be at 6% now because we
Ooh.
actually won a game. Obviously, as a Dynamo fan, I'm optimistic to make it to playoffs as much as possible. But this is not a playoff team. This is not a team that's built to win MLS Cup unless everything, all the planets and the solar system lines up into Houston's favor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's technically possible because the playoffs haven't happened yet. The season hasn't is not done even yet. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of like, are we lucky enough? Is the team gonna be cohesive? Is the team gonna be reacting to possibly to like all the news? Like, we're bringing these guys in, we're bringing in new energy to see if we can put a playoff push and getting lucky through the playoffs. So I don't see that still. If they win, that's amazing. I'm gonna shut my mouth, but I don't think
So
it's gonna happen.
6%. So in the last 3 games, we happen to get you up by 1%. Cesspool has fallen off again. Thank you, Cesspool, for joining us and all that good stuff. I was gonna ask him the same question, but he fell off, so it's all good. Um, 6 games remaining. I mean, they haven't lost a game. So I mean, since we talked about this, they're 5 points in 3 games. So I mean, that's not great, but it's not bad at all either. I guess I'm gonna be like around 12.5%. I'm 1/8 there. We'll see. I mean, obviously, if they can win against the Galaxy, that'll be a big statement win as far as as far as points go and getting climbing up the table. And then we'll revisit it again, and maybe we can get Andres to double digits as far as percentage goes. But yeah, I think I'm gonna be at 12.5. So I'm at 12.5% right now that the Dynamo can reach that number 9 spot and make into the play-in game for the playoffs. But with that being said, guys, obviously Giuseppe came here late. Says I'm gonna go with Blake. Hey, a lot of Blake Gillingham love in the fan group for the Dynamo and all that stuff. So shout out to Blake Gillingham if he gets a chance to check this show out or whatever. But like that being said, guys, I mean, thank you for the support, the continued support, and for being active on the chat. Jeff, Giuseppe, all those guys, Christian, all those guys, I appreciate all the love and support. Andres, let the people know where they can find us.
Yeah, man. At Dynamic Foxtrot's gonna be our handle for Twitter, now called X, Instagram, and Blue Sky. We also have a separate handle on X called Noodle Tiempo. Essentially, this is going to be our separate profile to keep you guys updated with everything going on with Dynamo. Dash, Dose, Sexful, welcome back, sir.
I'm sorry,
And
guys. The
you're
internet
good.
service went down.
It happens. It happens, man. I've been like that with Spectrum. I've been battling that fight for like the past year, so it's all good. But but yeah, that's gonna be our handle for everything going on with Dynamo Dash Dose. No Tiempo, and at Dynamic Foxtrot. Foxtrot TV, whatever you're watching right now, YouTube's going to be the best place to watch us. Just look up Middle Time or Foxtrot TV. We're going to be there no matter what. Shout out to Giuseppe. Shout out to Christian. Shout out to Jeff. for participating in the chat over the course of the episode. We do appreciate the comments.
Me la
And of
pelan.
course, Jeff and OSG hopping in. A shout out to them, our best people. Shout out to our best people. We do appreciate your comments, your interactions. Obviously, we keep you guys in the conversation and keep it going over the course of the episode. So if you guys haven't joined yet, I encourage you to come in at some point. We do usually record at 8 p.m. every Thursday, so keep an eye out for that one. Of course, Ghost TV, dot, ghosttv.com/Atlantic Foxtrot is going to be our handle for our Ghost TV profile. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's a good website to check out other soccer content creators like us. So I highly encourage you to check it out if you haven't already. And also, wherever you're listening to this episode in your favorite podcast platform, we're going to be there. Just search Noodle Time. Uh, Give us a like, 5 stars, subscribe, give us a comment. We'd read our feedback. We do appreciate that for sure. And last but not least, our weekly newsletter, Fox in the Box and Dash Dispatch. We post that every week, and the Dash Dispatch newsletter is our brand new weekly newsletter that we provide for the Dash, alongside with the Dynamo. So keep an eye on that one. And yeah, guys, we do appreciate the support. Keep an eye out on the Dash, though. They're still pushing up for a playoff spot. So if you haven't kept an eye on them this season,
Dash the fuck on.
yes, sir.
Yeah, guys.
Go
So with that being
beyond.
with that being said, obviously, round of applause. Thank you for Cesspool for joining us today as our special guest. My guy, where can they find you, or where can they get a hold of you on social media?
So you don't find me, I find you at XESPOOL cesspool. That's on Twitter and Instagram. In all seriousness, every single follow is appreciated. Every single like is appreciated. I do this from the bottom of my heart as a project for my kids, and now it became to this big thing. So anything you guys do to follow, like, subscribe, I appreciate it. Yeah, but find me at XESPOOL cesspool.
Yeah, for
Hold it
sure.
down.
And if you see him in the games or on the streets, don't be scared to ask for a picture. The man is very picture happy.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Hey
with that being,
kiddos, if you bring your kiddos and then they see me, they're scared. I'm gonna go dab them just to make sure that they get acquainted with the craziness in the game. Because if they can't get past me, oof, yeah, no, he gets crazier than me.
yeah, for sure. With that being said, guys, like I said, thank you again for all the continued support. And with that being said, regardless of where we're up and down, we're always going to hold it down for H Town. Go Dynamo, go Dash. Let's do it, guys. Let's make the playoffs. Let's get that playoff run going.
Rain and shine, H time.
Stay in the middle, y'all.